Well, this keeps in context with what I'm going for here.
All right.
Yes, you're a racist and a traitor.
Yeah.
This is an article here. That's the title of the article by an individual by the name of John Price.
Okay.
While I was out jogging this morning,
yes,
I passed a neighbor's house that I have passed every day for almost...
All right, stop. Just... Oh, my God. I just pulled a muscle in my rib. Oh, dear God. The Michelle Obama one is fucking hysterical.
Looks like that doctor from the Planet of the Apes. Jeez.
Oh, dear Christ. No, blockade runner. We're not all going to hell for this. AOR's got a fucking slow burning cross that's all his own toward hell.
Right.
He's the one that keeps posting this shit.
Sure.
That's all his own.
Those ears the size of Dumbo is just crazy.
That is fucking unbelievable.
He could flutter them and just rise up out of that seat.
Unfucking believable. Just wow. I don't even want that on my computer.
All right.
All right, go ahead.
All right. While I was out jogging this morning, I passed a neighbor's house that I have passed every day for almost 3 years.
Okay.
Usually I stroll right on by without giving it a second thought. Today was different.
Okay.
I stopped in my tracks and blankly stared until a car honked at me to move out of the way.
Okay.
I wonder why.
Why?
The house flies a Confederate flag.
Oh, no.
So this guy had no problem, didn't recognize it for 3 years. All of a sudden, it's moved to the forefront of our consciousness, and this just stopped him in his tracks.
Well, it should. It's bad now.
Yeah, it's bad now. It wasn't bad for the 3 years you just jogged by there, but today, now, all of a sudden, it's a whole different story.
Today, it's bad, man.
I don't live in South Carolina or even Maryland.
Right.
I live in a small town in central Pennsylvania.
Okay.
50 miles north of Gettysburg, which is where one of the biggest battles of the Civil War took place.
Right.
The site of the most famous victory of the Civil War. Yet even here, a few hundred feet away from my front door, flies the unambiguous symbol of hatred.
Hatred, of course.
Racism and treason.
Treason? Okay.
Normally, this would elicit some fleeting contempt, and I would go about my day. But with the slayings in Charleston very much on my mind,
yeah,
I found myself getting very...
offended.
Well...
angry.
There you go. Perfect. So this guy been living in this neighborhood for 3 years.
Right.
Supposedly out jogging past this neighbor's house.
Right.
Never gave it two thoughts.
No, of course not.
Now all of a sudden he's stopped in his tracks and is seething now.
Yeah, because this guy that has the flag should fucking conform to his view.
Well, he's seething now. It was never a problem before.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's a problem.
Well, his view changed, so this guy with the flag should change his view.
Sure. So angry at this person, this neighbor of mine,
right?
In parentheses, this neighbor of mine.
Oh, my goodness.
So I think they should probably go to this guy's house, drag him out in the streets, and stone him.
Yeah, and then run him over with the American flag-covered fucking General Lee.
Angry at the culture that permits such blatant hatred.
That permits it. That permits it.
Yep.
Listen up, you fucking cocksucker. How about when the fucking world turns on whatever it is you're into? What about then? Are you going to be so fucking angry then, or are you going to just like a pussy that you are, conform to it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, they don't like that I watch Law and Order SVU. That glamorizes rape, so I better stop. I can't like that show anymore. What a fucking piece of, just a bag of shit this guy is.
Right.
Another guy I hope dies in a fire.
Sure. Angry at the media who provided cover for the ignorant.
Really?
Angry at the teachers who perpetuate this historical falsehood. Angry at myself for not being angry before.
What a fag. What a faggot.
You see, I study traditional culture. More specifically, I study the ways in which today's culture manufactures and reinforces traditions through the mass media.
Right.
Folklorists have a unique disciplinary perspective for this sort of analysis because there was this period of time when the field was mired in romantic nationalism.
Right.
The true character of people was said to be rooted in the culture of the Volk, VOLK, and was glorified and incorporating into more modern political movements like Nazism.
Oh, brother, really?
So folklorists have a keen interest in serving as the sort of keepers of the cultural authenticities, if you will. If anyone should be highlighting the ways in which traditions are being manufactured, distorted, and consumed, it is us. That is me.
Yeah. So we should conform to your fucking thoughts.
Right.
Fuck you.
In America today, the most prominent, prevalent, and pernicious of these revisionist movements is the lost cause narrative. The idea that the Civil War was a romantic struggle for freedom against an oppressive government trying to enforce cultural change.
Wait, stop right there. Who fucking thinks that?
Nobody.
Nobody I've ever heard, including any teacher, anybody, has said that the Civil War was that. Everybody has said what it was. It was North versus South, and now they do falsely misconstrue that it was only about slavery.
It wasn't only about slavery.
I mean, that became an issue, but that wasn't even the initial issue.
That was an issue, but not the only issue.
Exactly, and it's falsely reported as the reason that there was the war, which is untrue.
Right.
But no, nobody's trying to say that it was the fucking England and the people that left England war. Nobody has said that ever. This guy's just fucking making up shit.
Sure. There are scores of books on this topic, and you should check those out at your local library. But probably the most famous popular culture lost cause text is Gone with the Wind, both the book and the movie.
Yeah.
So they're basing the Civil War history on a movie that was just happened to be a romantic popular movie of the 40s. Well,
just like JFK is the movie JFK is how it really went down with Kennedy.
Right.
I guess that's his theory.
Sure. It's a movie.
Yeah.
It's pop culture.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not necessarily historically relevant.
And let's be honest, at this point, most people have not seen Gone with the Wind.
And not only that, but The Daily Show with John Stewart.
Yeah.
That's satire.
Yeah, of course.
That isn't the news.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, a lot of people, especially a younger generation, they look at Jon Stewart as the guy who, brings you the news.
Sure.
It's a spoof on the news.
How about this? All of it is a spoof on the news. Fox, CNN, and MSNBC, it's all fucking a TV show now.
Yeah.
None of it is fucking news.
It's entertainment.
None of it is news. None of it is news. They sprinkle news in with their opinions, but it's opinion shows.
It's no different than listening to us.
Yeah, it's not. It's reality TV, really.
We're just a couple of goofy guys who bring these stories to the table and make fun of them, and we might give you some valid opinions, and you can accept them or not accept them. Exactly. But we're not a credible news source.
There's not a such thing in America today as a credible news source.
Sure.
Maybe NPR?
Not even that.
That's very left leaning. I know that. I mean,
very biased.
AP?
Not even them.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody.
Yeah, everybody's kind of got a slant now.
Yeah, I mean, I watch something called Newsy because they just pick and choose from all of it. So, and it seems like it's fairly random. It doesn't seem like they pick topics to lean things one way or the other. It seems like whoever's out first, that's the story they grab.
Sure.
So at least that is like not leaning either way. And that's usually how I get my news
It's
now.
Basically a hodgepodge of what's available.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You know, it's so I mean, you know, me and you get accused all the time as being Fox News honks. I have not watched a single fucking minute of Fox News in 5 years. I have no idea what's even on it anymore. I know O'Reilly's probably still there, right? Or
I watch O'Reilly, and I watch about 10 minutes of Megyn Kelly only because she's hot and she grew her hair back out, so she looks pretty smoking.
Right. Okay.
But that's about it.
I don't know anything about any of them anymore. I don't listen. I don't care because it's all just a fucking television show.
Sure.
And it's not a television show that entertains me.
Right. So he goes on, I hate Gone with the Wind. I hate everything about it.
Yeah.
Isn't that like an emotion you're not supposed to express these days?
Oh, liberals can do what they want.
Oh, okay. I hate its portrayal of the Civil War. I hate its portrayal of Southern aristocrats. Mm-hmm. I hate its popularity.
Yeah. What'd you think of Mars Attacks, by the way? Did you find some historical balance in that too, you fucking dickhead? It's a movie!
Yeah.
It's a fucking movie!
I hate that it's become an iconic movie.
No, it hasn't. No,
have you seen Gone with the Wind? So is Jaws.
Have you seen Gone with the Wind?
Yes, I have seen it.
How many times?
Once.
Okay, could you repeat any lines other than frankly, Scarlett, I don't give a fuck?
I don't give a damn, but
same thing.
But no. No, I don't know.
Could you recite one other line?
Yes, I can.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't know about birthing no babies. That's the only other line.
All right, so 2 lines out of this movie. Can you recite off the top of your head 2 lines out of The Godfather?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically then The Godfather is an accurate portrayal of 1950s New York.
No.
Wait a minute. It's got to be because the Gone with the Wind is a portrayal of the Civil War.
Sure.
So then clearly, since you know The Godfather, according to this guy's fucking logic, then The Godfather must portray that.
Yeah. Well, I know at least probably more than 3/4 of the movie of Clerks, so that must be a portrayal of the New Jersey quick stop convenience store.
Yeah, that's exactly how it must run. Because you know so much of it.
Right.
And clearly, if you've learned anything, you know that any convenience store clerk, his girlfriend has sucked 37 dicks.
Exactly. 37
in a row?
Exactly.
This guy's logic is beyond stupid.
Of course it is, but he has to reach for anything he can grab a hold of to try to prove his point.
Yeah, keep working, Lib.
Sure.
You might get there.
Right. Let's see here. Gone with the Wind let's see here. Gone with the Wind is birth of a nation with less horses.
But
yeah, the movie and its position among the American cinematic pantheon has done more to further the aristocratic lost cause bullshit than any other single production. So he's blaming a movie for some kind of distorted viewpoint people have about the Civil War.
Yeah. Am I wrong in thinking that Gone with the Wind came out in 1939?
Yeah, it was like 1940 or something like that.
So like almost 100 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what was a big fucking influence on today's fucking maritime? The Titanic.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
Right. Because that's the fundamental problem with the lost cause narrative. It's not true. So basically, Gone with the Wind has influenced the entire U.S. to misunderstand how the Civil War affected our history because of a movie.
And therefore, we don't understand why we should not have the Confederate flag.
Sure.
Is that what his theory is?
That's what his theory is that we accept the Confederate flag as very non-threatening because in Gone with the Wind, it was just a romantic story.
How many people, you've been to a Leonard Skinner concert?
Many times.
How many of those people at any one of those shows do you think had seen Gone with the Wind?
Probably none, or even maybe 2% at the most.
How many of them knew the definition of the word wind?
Well, I don't know. Maybe call me the breeze.
This is fucking the dumbest argument of all time.
Of course it is.
It's terrible.
All right, let's go one by one through some typical lost cause tinged revisionist talking points.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
The Civil War was about economics, not slavery.
Who cares?
The Civil War was about economics of slavery.
Have we not had 6 wars since then?
Yes.
So why the fuck do we care?
Because this shaped the viewpoint of this nation and how people think today.
No one thinks about the economic sanctions of the 1800s when they're worrying about fucking looking at the General Lee on the Dukes of Hazzard.
Exactly.
What a dick this guy is.
The Civil War was about states' rights, not slavery.
Okay.
The Civil War was about states' rights to maintain slavery.
Yes.
Well, states' rights is states' rights. Mm-hmm. Whether it was regarding slavery or other, that might have been one of the things, but not the only thing.
Yeah.
That's not the Confederate flag. True, it's the battle flag of the Army of Northern Virginia, which actually makes your usage even worse. It's the banner under which men fought and died to enact secession. Okay, so they're not the first and only. We aren't the first and only country that has ever talked about succeeding.
Yeah.
How about the Soviet Union?
Yeah.
All those countries over there succeeding from the Soviet Union?
Yeah, the Uzbekistan and
and Georgia.
All those places they split.
Yeah.
When Russia fell, they all took off.
Exactly. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that French Canadians are wanting to succeed from the rest of the Canada. There's been an argument up there about that forever.
Yeah, well, I'd like to succeed with the pinball business.
The flag represents heritage, not hate.
Well, he can't fucking make that determination.
Yeah. Funny.
He can't. No, I don't even care what his point is. He can't make that definition because the definition of what something represents to somebody is within themselves.
Right.
Not within some fucking book theory. He may think that it is a symbol of hate, and I may think that it's a symbol of heritage. That doesn't make either one of us right or wrong.
Right.
It makes us both right in our own minds.
Sure.
He doesn't get to make a point on this. Skip to his next point.
Well,
he gets no point.
Well, he says that heritage is hate.
Oh.
This is my favorite talking point because it sets up a false dichotomy and then tries to pretend heritage is a significant. No, SIGNIFIER. Signifier. There we go. For some romantic, noble culture just waiting to be recaptured.
Where does he get that point from? His own head.
When Lindsey Graham says things like the flag represents to some people a civil war, and
he's not wrong, because Lindsey Graham's statement, as you just said, was to some people.
Yes. That was the symbol of one side. To the others, it's a racist symbol.
And there's no law that says that you can't have a racist idea.
Yeah.
There's no law that says that you have to be fucking non-racist. Why does no one get that?
Because the thing is that you have to land on the right side of whatever the popular viewpoint is.
No, you don't.
Well, that's what everybody thinks these days.
You know, we were raised to fucking challenge authority.
Right.
We were raised to fucking not fall for the fucking popular opinion, but use your brain. Remember those speeches you used to get in class? We used to get that in school.
Sure.
They would tell you, don't just settle for the easy answer. Go find the right answer.
Correct.
If that's harder, too bad, because the right answer is the right answer. Now it's like, well, if everybody says it, then you should say it too.
Right.
Fucking pathetic.
Lemmings.
We're raising a bunch of fucking pussies.
And sheeple and lemmings.
Yeah, just fucking, I hate this generation.
To others, it's a racist symbol, and it's been used by people. It's been used in a racist way. He makes a mockery of this history. Yes, Senator, it does represent one side of the Civil War and the side that advocated slavery and secession. It's the flag of treason.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And
the savagery of slavery is offensive enough to justify any level of outrage.
Right.
How many times in this day and age do we have to see offensive, shock, and outrage?
Yeah, every time.
Offensive, shock, and outrage.
That's every time, dude.
Mm-hmm. The disgusting post-war history of the Ku Klux Klan is offensive enough to justify any level of outrage.
Right.
But what might be the most absurd part of this neo-Confederate heritage romanticism is that its advocates are simply glorifying the reason. So everything is romantic. He thinks that the people who stick up for the flag are romanticizing like everything was so much better back then.
Okay, well here's where he's an idiot. One of many places, but here's where he really comes off like a fucking idiot. I'm gonna just play along for a minute and just assume that every point he's making is correct. Okay,
right.
All his historical points are 100% right, which I don't agree with, but whatever. We'll go with that point for this moment. Okay. Now, do we think that the people that in the last weeks that were saying "fuck you"? It's heritage, not hate, and blah, 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 blah. All the people that were for keeping the flag, do we think that they, A, knew this history, or B, or let me go another way. Do we think that, A, they believe what they're saying as far as they believe it to be heritage, not hate? Or do we think, B, they're just lying because they want to keep their nigger hating together?
Well,
which do you think is probably most true in most cases?
Well, I drove a truck, as you know.
Yes.
Through over the entire country.
Yes.
And I spent quite a bit of time in the South. I traveled the Carolinas and through Georgia and Alabama and Florida and so on and so forth. And I saw a lot of the Confederate flag.
Okay.
And I stopped at many places through the South. Okay. And the people down there, they did not tout that flag like I hate black people.
Right.
It was just, we're proud of our history of being different than the rest of the country as far as our, mannerisms are concerned, our hospitality is concerned, our food is concerned. It represents a whole lot of things.
Right.
To them, it represents a lot of things because if you've ever traveled in the North, whether it's like New York or up in the upper North, northern states, people are a little bit more rude up there.
Yeah, true.
They're
Very
rude.
True.
they're rude and they're brash and they're in a hurry and so on and so forth. You go down south, people are kind of laid back. They're kind of like, taking it easy and so on and so forth. And I always equated that flag not to, man, these are a bunch of nigger haters down here.
Right.
I always equated it to, this is a different way of life.
Right.
And that flag kind of represents us as a different way, or separates us from the brash, rude, hate.
Mm-hmm.
I won't even use the word hate, because it's not hate. It's just unwelcoming.
Yeah. So my point is this: if the people overwhelmingly, and yeah, I see your picture, Val, and I get it that fucking race people do use the fucking Confederate flag.
Sure they
too,
do.
as well as fucking white sheets, and yet I'll bet you every one of us has a fucking white sheet on a bed somewhere.
Right.
So stop. My point is this: if overwhelmingly the people do not, in the truest nature of their belief, equate it to racism, then is it truly racist?
Is the flag truly racist?
Can it truly be a racist symbol if no one that's using it, or the majority of the people that are using it, except for the fringe groups, are fucking using it as a symbol of pride, not slavery?
Yeah, I would say that the majority, not the minority fringe, that look upon the Confederate flag, look at it as just like, hey, we're from the South.
Yeah.
That's it.
And so this guy's assumption that it is a symbol of hate because of what happened in the 1800s, my assessment to him is that 99% of the people that wave that flag proudly don't know or care.
They don't.
They don't know that history that he's spouting off from something from 1866, and they don't care. They have their own interpretation of it.
Sure, and I agree with that.
And it wasn't until last week that it was turned into something other than that.
Sure.
So he's wrong in perverting the fucking, not him necessarily, but I mean the people that side with him are wrong for giving it a meaning that it has not had in a fucking 150 years.
Or that a meaning that a majority of people hold. Yes, there are fringe groups, be it the KKK or this kid that shot up that church and whatever. Yeah, they may look at that flag as something other than that, but I would say the majority of Southerners who still fly the Confederate flag, they look at it as, hey, we're different from the North. Yeah. We're not like those people up there.
Yeah. So he's just a buffoon.
Yeah, I agree.
And again, it goes back to the same point. My point is valid, so you have to fucking appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, you can have your point, but I could tell you that you're full of shit.
Sure.
And I'm going to live that way until I drop, personally.
Right.
I'm never going to conform to fucking people unless I agree with their point.
Right.
Not because it's popular. That's stupid.
The states that succeeded to become the Confederacy were actively engaged in open war against the United States government.
I wish that would happen again.
A war they started because of the election of a man they deemed hostile to slavery.
Okay.
A war they fought to maintain the Haven-ordained supremacy of the white man over the inferior colored race. A war they lost. Okay. But it was a war based on the fundamental social conflict that is still not resolved and simmers under the zeitgeist, rearing its ugly head every so often, reminding us that it hasn't gone anywhere. It was not resolved in 1865, not in 1965, and sadly not in 2015.
Does this guy have any fucking view on the world?
Well, again,
any view? How about did the fucking leader of Iran not come to one of our colleges 2 years ago and say that they had no gay people in his country?
Yeah, that they would kill them.
Because they kill them.
Yeah, they kill them.
They kill them. are we blind into thinking that every other country in this fucking world is not racist against people that are not their own?
Right.
We are a country that takes on every race, and then somewhere, somehow, some way, these fucking liberal cocksuckers think that by taking on all of these people, that everybody's just going to fucking love each other.
Right.
And that's ridiculous, because if you look everywhere else in the world, everywhere, you don't see that. You've not been out of the country, have you?
No, I have not.
When you go out of the country and you go to other countries, I'm not saying that you don't feel safe, but you don't feel like you do walking the streets of Cleveland or Chicago or fucking around, you know, in the States.
Sure.
You always are keeping your head's a little bit more on a swivel.
Yeah, of course.
You're keeping your eyes out because you're the outsider.
Right.
And as the outsider, you keep fucking moving, and you keep yourself, ready. I lived in Korea for 2.5 years, and I never got completely comfortable, living there. And I mean, I ran those streets like crazy, but I always was on guard. That's why I got in so many fucking fights, because somebody would say something, and I'd bust them in the mouth.
Sure.
And that's what I think is always missing in this argument, is that racism is normal. I'm not saying that I'm for it. I'm absolutely like everybody else against it. But to try and portray it as something that is not normal in the human state is fucking a ridiculous statement.
Right.
Because it's been proven, as long as we have written history, there has been racism against people other than their own.
Sure.
And you can look at that as, racism or religiosism or whatever, with the Crusades and everything else. Anytime people have seen people as different than them, they've tried to murder them.
Right.
In every history throughout time. But all of a sudden, somehow, this little place, is supposed to be the one place that doesn't happen.
Right.
It's fucking stupid.
Well, it goes back to everything that I've said. I've said this many times on the show before.
Right.
The idea is that you're supposed to somehow be able to legislate behavior.
And you can never do that.
Can't do it.
No. It'll never. You know who legislates behavior? North Korea.
Right.
North Korea legislates the behavior of the people.
Sure.
And when somebody even acts a little bit out of line, they fucking execute them.
Yeah, you're dead.
You're just done. You didn't shovel your fucking driveway? Dead.
Yep.
That's it. Done. It's crazy.
Well, there's just a little bit more here.
All right, go ahead.
The heritage of the Confederacy, the enduring belief in lost cause romanticism, the invention and the adoption of revisionist traditions and culture has become society's old faithful, a culture geyser that periodically lets off steam, a spectacle at which we ogle and was poetic about the fragility of our condition. But one day it'll explode, and it'll be a catastrophe in which we might not recover.
Yeah, again, because he doesn't see any worldview at all.
Right.
It's all localized to him and his opinion, instead of seeing how it is in the real world. And in the real world, all across the world, it's fucking part of the way of life.
Sure.
Accept it.
Right. The tragedy of America is that this is all self-inflicted. The trajectory of self-destruction does not have to be the outcome. As Jon Stewart, of course, so eloquently pointed out, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, they're not shit on the they are not shit on the damage we can apparently do to ourselves on a regular basis.
Yeah, so?
The troglodyte that killed those people in South Carolina wanted to fire the opening shots in a new race war. Yeah. He is a Confederate in every sense of the word. He is a white supremacist. He is a terrorist. He is a traitor.
Yeah.
The worst part is that he is not some aberration. Oh, we want to comfort and assure ourselves that he is.
No, he does.
Yeah, he does.
He does, because he's afraid of life. He's afraid of the real world. He's afraid of how things really are. These guys that, again, They try and cry out about fucking racism being bad, and it's growing underneath. No, it's always been there. It's always gonna be there. It's never going away. It doesn't matter who's the fucking president. It doesn't matter who's the first lady. It doesn't matter who's anything. There's always going to be white people that hate black people, period. There's always going to be black people that hate white people, period. It's always going to be that way. The way you fucking deal with it is that you condition yourself that that's part of life, and you adapt. You adapt to the situations that you're put in. When you're working with people, you work with people. If you choose to build the relationship further, you choose to. But if you don't, then you don't. If you feel like you need to not go further than a working relationship, then you don't. Period.
Right.
This fucking everybody hold hands and sing fucking Kumbaya is a fucking ridiculous notion that everybody on the left somehow thinks that they can paint. It's all about votes.
Yeah, of course.
You give that dumb fucking analogy of, everybody should be able to get along just fine because we believe that. No, they don't. They just know that there's more money to make in fucking arguing on that side of it.
Of course there is.
Fucking stupid cunts.
Well, let's see here. We want to comfort. Let's see. We want to comfort and assure ourselves that he has some mental issue, or that he's evil, or some other easy excuse that absolves us of all the responsibility.
Why do we have to take any responsibility for what this fucking guy did?
Because it takes a village, man.
No, it doesn't.
It's the Hillary Clinton attitude that it takes a village to raise a child.
You know what? I promise you I could solve that kid's problem with fucking $2. Just fucking load it in my gun and shoot him in the head.
Right.
And he'd be off the planet.
Exactly.
And that would solve that problem.
Right.
And if you did that to enough of these fucking guys that are fucking acting out of turn, then it might slow down a little bit.
Sure.
If you had real punishment for this shit.
Exactly.
But you don't have real punishment for it. This kid's going to sit in jail for 30 fucking years.
Yep.
He's going to sit in jail for 30 fucking years. And it's never going to be prosecuted. And every time that you don't report it the other way, you just make the problem worse. I hate to say it, but it's true.
That is true.
Every time you fucking say, well, there was black people that were killed by a white guy, and then what pops up on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, wherever? 50 examples of black dudes shooting white guys that are not reported in the news.
Exactly.
What does that do? It fucking instills all kinds of hate. You want fucking equal. If you want equal treatment, then you fucking bring equal consequence, equal bad attention to go with the good attention. But they don't do that.
Nope.
And then they wonder why fucking people don't like each other. It's a game. It's just a game, and the people are too fucking stupid to see it because CNN doesn't tell them that it's a game.
Right.
They tell them that it's real, that fucking white people hate black people. White people don't hate black people any more than anybody else hates anybody else. Simple as that.
Yep. His actions were heinous, but he is the product of a media environment and a culture that protects the ignorant and glorifies division.
Yeah.
This is the heritage celebrated by those who fly the Confederate flag, by those who are like my neighbor. So he's basically saying that people who fly the Confederate flag encourage this behavior by this kid.
Yeah, of course they do.
No, they don't.
Sure they do. Don't tell me that when this kid shot these 9 people, you weren't in your house going, yeah, get him.
Yeah.
He did it.
Yeah.
He failed.
He carried out our mission.
Yeah, he failed because he didn't get more people dead.
Right.
That's what you were really cheering for, wasn't it?
Yeah.
This guy's a fucking idiot.
He is. And what about my neighbor? In a perfect world, I would ring his doorbell and have a reasonable discussion with him about what he's doing is offensive and is ahistoric.
Yeah.
And I'd love to correct his understanding of the entire mess.
Yeah, except for the fact that if you had that reasonable conversation, his answer could easily be, I don't give a fuck what you think.
Yeah, get the fuck off my porch.
You don't even have to say that. He could just say, I don't care what you think.
Yeah.
Now what? I'm not yelling at you. I'm just telling you, I don't care.
I don't have your viewpoint.
Yeah, I don't have it, and I don't want it.
Well, you need to have my viewpoint. Otherwise, you're the problem, pal.
I wonder what he thinks when the Jehovah's show up at his door.
Right.
Does he conform to the Jehovah's because their point is right?
Yeah, and they rang your doorbell.
Yeah, they came to your door to have a reasonable conversation.
Sure.
And I'll bet you he's one of those guys that says, no, not interested, and slams his fucking door.
Yeah, of course. Or not answer the door at all.
Yeah, hides.
Yeah.
No, this guy hides, runs in his bedroom.
Right.
So nobody can see him in there.
Right. But the sad fact is he's not alone either. In my time here, I've seen scores of Confederate bumper stickers, license plates, and even other flags. Neo-Confederate revisionism is everywhere.
Everywhere.
Nobody is denying that the Civil War happened or slavery happened or
no.
That's not revisionist. Nobody's denying that.
And nobody's painting it in a positive light either.
It's just like the people he's painting this like the people who thinks that the Holocaust never happened. You know what I mean? There's people out there who say, "Oh, that Holocaust never happened."
Yeah. Have you in your lifetime ever heard anybody say, "Yeah, slavery, that was a good thing"?
No, nobody ever.
I've never heard that.
And I've never heard anyone deny that the Civil War took place or slavery never took place.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bunch of bullshit. Somebody made that story up.
Yeah, there was never any slaves.
Exactly.
I've never heard that.
It's not confined to dumb rednecks or red state voters or NASCAR fans or any other easy stereotype we use to deceive ourselves and dismiss painful realities. Who's it painful toward?
Yeah, not
it's
me.
150 years ago.
Yeah,
No
one that suffered from slavery is alive.
Yeah. It's not even confined to older generations. The killer in the South Carolina is 21. He's a millennial. He's one of us. And every day that we don't react to that information, every day we don't internalize this conflict, every day we tell ourselves nothing is wrong, every day we claim we aren't racist because we have black friends. Every day we share some viral cat video instead of watching the news. Every day we don't knock on our neighbor's door as another day nothing will change.
I want this guy on the show in the worst way. I will eviscerate this guy. And see, I'm using the big word like he used troglodyte. You know, I will fucking...
His name is John Price. He's on Twitter. Twitter.com/TheJohnPrice.
All right, I will hit him this week. This guy's a fucking boob.
Yeah.
He's just as misguided as he's claiming everybody else to be.
Sure.
Completely doesn't get it.
Right.
Completely doesn't get the real world, and completely thinks the whole world lives in his bubble. That's really what his problem is he thinks the whole world revolves around his bubble.
Right.
Instead of that there's a world bubble, and he's just a little part of it. What a douche.
Right. Well, I'm going to sum this up and end the show with this.
All right.
I read this week, and I thought it was written and spoken very eloquently.
Yes.
I have made the statement here on the show whenever a racial discussion has been brought up.
Yes.
And my comment has always been what, Chris?
I hate niggers.
No. People, in my opinion, do not just dislike other people because of the color of their skin.
Oh, yeah. It's behavior.
It's behavior.
Yeah, exactly.
That's always been my point, and I still stand by that today. It's always about behavior, and somebody wrote this. I don't know who the author is, but I thought it was spoken very well. Okay. Probably the biggest reason people have any bias against another person is because of their behavior and how they conduct or represent themselves.
Agree.
Once again, I think this would be a wonderful opportunity to pause for a moment and give thanks for the great contributions of the Black and Hispanic communities to our societies. Their peaceful and generous nature makes them ideal neighbors, lending testimony to their exceptional family values and parenting skills unrivaled by any other culture. Their commitment to academic excellence enriches our schools and serves as an example to all who hope to achieve prominence as a people. Real estate values are fueled by the mix of African American and Hispanics into an area due to their caring and respectful nature of their communities, an example of all they have achieved through their enthusiasm for self-improvement by hard work and self-reliant can-do nature. And we certainly must not forget their abhorrence for crime and their dedication to observing the law. Without their industrious and creative drive, we would be poorer as a nation.
Fair enough.
So the message there, kids, behavior. It's not skin color.
Yep.
It's how you conduct yourself, in public, how you treat your neighbors and your coworkers, and how concerned you are at being a good citizen in your community.
Right. And I'll add one little small piece to it. Don't be lazy. Judge individuals, not fucking groups.
Exactly.
Don't fucking say, well, that black guy robbed a store, so all black guys rob stores.
Right.
You know, fucking judge individuals. That's an easy way to fucking always be right in your opinion, by judging an individual.
Right.
That's all.
All right. Well, it's been a good show. I know it's been kind of intense and kind of funny in some parts, but sometimes it needs to be said, even to our knucklehead fans.
Typical show. Somewhat serious, somewhat not.
Yeah. Our knucklehead fans sometimes need a little kick in the ass and give you something to think about.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you the honor of ending the show with a song, Mr. Aiken.
All right. I'm going to go. I'm going to go in honor of LaDon Blackett.
LaDon Blackett.
I'm going to go with AC/DC, Back in Black.
Okay.
How's that?
Sounds good. It's a classic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we want to thank our friend, Mr. James Christian, tonight.
Sure.
He is back with a new House of Lords release called Indestructible.
That's right.
And he's always a good guest. And the podcast will be up through the week and along scattered in with some of our classic stuff.
Yep.
And I appreciate everybody who was part of the show tonight. Happy 4th of July.
Yeah. And you're mobile next week, right?
I am. I'm going down to the Dayton, Ohio area to go hang out with Trickster.
Nice.
Firehouse and Dawkin.
Nice. That'll be fun.
Yeah, should be.
See our friend Steve Brown.
Would he be with them, or is he out
No, I saw a thing this week that Vivian is doing all the tour dates with Def Leppard.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I had read that he wasn't, so I guess things must have changed.
So, I guess you'll find out.
All right. Well, I will. If Steve Brown, I have never seen Trickster live.
Okay.
So I'm going to go see them, and I'm going to see Firehouse and hang out with our good friend CJ.
Yeah, Bill Leverty.
As well as Bill Leverty. Both of those guys are pretty good dudes.
Yeah.
And they've been, good to the show.
Sure.
So it's going to be kind of like old home week.
There you go. It'll be fun. It
should be fun. So, and who are you going to grab a tap as your co-host next week?
I'd love to grab and tap this one. Steffi will be by.
Well, make sure you bring equipment home so she can be on the air with you.
I'm leaving it all out tonight, and when I come in here in the morning, it's just to pack up my shit.
Sure.
So, yep. But that's it. Steffi's gonna do it, and I'm told maybe John's brother AJ might do it with me too, and that'll be fun because AJ is like way serious.
Okay.
Which will be absolutely fun with me doing my shit.
Well, I know that they cornered me at the Pinball Hall of Fame, asking me, "How do you do a show, man?"
Yeah.
It's like, so I was trying to give them all the pointers. So.
Yeah, you see how many episodes of that show has happened.
Yeah,
so far.
Well, same thing. The same thing with our good friend Ken Barr.
Well, I was listening to his new podcast. Never mind.
Nice. All right, we're going to get out of here. We'll be back next Saturday, or at least Chris will be.
Yep.
And maybe I'll even call in from the road.
All right, sounds good.
And anyway, I'm going to leave you with something for LaDon Blackett.
Right.
And this is Chris's pick to end the show. This is AC/DC with Back in Black. So until next Saturday night, this is Neeley along with my very good friend
LaDon Aiken.
And we're out of here.
Bye, kids.